So it's been about a week or two since set 13 came out, and we are starting to get a meta now. So I thought what I would do is go over some of the decks that you can play right now that are pretty good or are clearly like something that's going to be in the meta. Before we get started, remember to like, favorite, subscribe, hype, all that good stuff. It really helps out the channel. And let's go. I think first things first, we got to talk about one of the big dogs in the room. This is red yellow boosties. The list I have on screen is Humble's list that he won a CCQ with, I believe about a week or two ago. I think it was actually 2 weeks ago. The list is really good. I've played a version of this deck, and it is a control deck that uses a lot of things that challenge. There's some card draw with things like Ohana Meets Family. He's running one copy of Medallion Weights, which is something that I haven't seen a lot of other people doing, but it does kind of work. The main draw engine though is the Webby's Diary, which lets you draw from paying 1 after you boost something, and most of the characters in this list in some way can boost. Or at least a good amount of them, the ones that you're going to see really like quite often, including the Scrooge's Counting House, which if you let that get out of hand, or your opponent lets it get out of hand, it's going to net you a ton of lore. And all this deck's really trying to do is just stall. You stall, you wipe the board, and then you just basically lock your opponent out of the game entirely. It is really strong, but it also can be kind of difficult to pilot if you haven't been playing the game long. So if you're new to Lorcana, I don't know if this is necessarily, unless you've been playing TCGs for a long time, I don't know that you should necessarily pick this list up, but it is really good. So if you're wanting to play some kind of control deck or something, I think this is your probably best option for like a really good control deck. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Next up, we have this deck from Garrick. Shout out to Podcana. Big fan. This is the best deck is what he calls it, and it is essentially Amber Emerald aggro. It doesn't use Under the Sea. It doesn't use like it's kind of like dogs, but dogs are gone. But the idea is you play a lot of 1 and 2 drops. You use things like Grandmother Willow to make things cheaper. You use the new Pocahontas Guiding the Tribe, which when you play her, you can play a 1-cost character for free. So you can do some crazy plays where you play Aurora on turn 1, and then on turn 2 you play Grandmother Willow, and then you quest with Aurora, play Pocahontas, and play another 1-drop immediately. So you have 4 characters on the board. Granted, you're probably losing the Aurora next turn, but still you have a lot of characters all of a sudden. And that's part of this deck's power, is that you can just kind of just keep playing stuff constantly, and that's sort of what you want to do. It does struggle a little bit into, I would say, steel decks, and there are quite a few steel decks running around. You can still beat them, obviously. You can just overwhelm them if they don't get the right answers or anything. But yeah, deck's really strong. I don't believe it's won anything yet at the moment. But I think that's because steel kind of in the first week has come back pretty aggressively, I would say. And I think that kind of hurts it a bit, but I do think that if you're willing to commit to a deck like this, you will probably do really well with it. And yeah, it's really good. Next up, we have an interesting newcomer. This is Harlan Sweet's Blue Steel Detectives. So this is like almost a franchise deck, except that it is a mix of Zootopia, but also Darkwing Duck. But it uses the Judy Hopps cards to search for more detectives, and I think every single character in the deck is a detective, so it might as well just say draw a card. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck and draw a card. There's a lot of the newer cards are in here, like you have Darkwing Duck and Launchpad, which on top of having Ward just has like amazing stats. The 5/7 normally would be a little bit of a liability with all of the world's greatest criminal mind running around, but because he has Ward, you can't really target him with things like World's Greatest Criminal Mind or Gaston, so you have to either fight him up front, or you need to use something like Raging Storm to get rid of him, or just, yeah, he is kind of nuts, to be honest. Other than that, it's a lot of cards you've seen before. The only card I think in here that is not a detective at all is you have the Launchpad card from set 11. He is technically not a detective. And then you also have the Angel Experiment 64. She is not a detective either, but everything else is a detective. You're also using a card from 2 sets ago that did not really see any play, which is the Terror That Flaps in the Night. Deal 2 damage to an chosen opposing character. If you have a character named Darkwing Duck in play, deal 3. Like, a good amount of the characters in this deck are named Darkwing Duck, including the 1-drops, the 2-drops. There's 3 drops. And then you have the shift target, which has the name Darkwing Duck in it. So you're probably going to do 3 damage a lot of the time. And then you use the normal removable packages and then also let it go. I have played a game with a version, not this exact list that I'm showing, but a version of this deck, and I actually thought it was pretty fun. I might take it to locals at some point just to try it out a little bit more. I don't know if I'm going to commit to playing it, really, but I think if you really, really want a detectives deck, like you really want like a Zootopia or a Darkwing Duck deck, I actually think the deck's pretty good. I don't suspect it's going to win like CCQs or a DLC or anything, but if you want to take it to locals and have fun and you want to take it to your set champs and have fun, I think it's a really cool deck. And it's kind of cool that it is like on theme or that, you know, there are archetype themes basically in the game now that sort of exist and are actually pretty decent. Next up is a Lilo and Stitch song deck. It's basically an Amber Steel deck by Inkery. By the way, all of the deck lists are linked in the description below. I played a deck very similar to this. I ended up changing quite a bit. I think you need more copies of World's Greatest Criminal Mind, to be honest. The amount of like purple steel robots and which we will talk about in a minute, and just other characters that have a lot of strength, like Copper in Amber Ruby and some other things, are just a lot to deal with. The good news is with this deck too is Lilo and Stitch Fun Loving Friends has support, so you can quest support your opponent's character and then use World's Greatest Criminal Mind to take them out. That is a really strong play if you can pull it off. The Benja is in here because there is some wanting to tech towards Amber Ruby and all of their items, but the problem with Benja is that if they don't have any items, Benja's pretty weak, but he is inkable, so you can always just get rid of him. Overall, I think this deck is good. I would maybe lean in 1 or 2 different directions personally, because it's just the deck I have been playing. Like, look at this family. I think I cut it all together last week, and because it just really underperformed at my locals. It didn't do anything, and I was praying. I wanted so many more copies of World's Greatest Criminal Mind and could not find them in my deck, even though I had 2. So I think overall, though, this list is good, and you could play it just fine, and you could win a lot of games. But I think you could make it slightly better if you didn't lean so hard into having all of the Lilo and Stitch shift targets, which is not, as much as I've been playing, it's not totally necessary, because you can Akud them out, or you can just wait it out and play them, you know, like normal, and it's totally fine. So, but I think this is a cool starting place, and I did play this deck, and it is fun, and you can win games with it. I do think Amber Steel is really strong this set, just having played it quite a bit so far, and but I do think there's going to be some variance in how you build it based on what your locals look like and what you expect the meta to look like. Next up, we have kind of another just kind of fun, detectives-ish deck. This is Amber Emerald Toys, and this is also by Inkery, and most of the cards in here are toys. You do have Eleanor, and you do have Grandmother Willow, and you have Mike Wazowski and Aurora and stuff, but I believe everything else is a toy. So that means when you play Woody Jungle Guide, you are going to get that extra willpower, but you also have a lot of other toy synergies in the deck. Like you have the Bullseye and you have Woody and Jesse. So Bullseye can be a lot cheaper, especially when you play the Grandmother Willow. You have the Mike Wazowski to help find you characters and recover. So all in all, again, I think like this is a good deck, but I think if you like abandon the, unless you just really, really want to play toys, you can kind of abandon the idea of just playing toys and you can just play normal Amber Emerald aggro, and it's probably going to work fine, probably better, honestly. But that's not to say that this is a bad deck at all. It is still a pretty good deck. But it depends on what you want. Like, do you want to play a specific flavor? Like, if you're really dead set on playing toys, then, you know, play this. You'll have more fun with it, and that's what we're all here for, right? We're here to have fun. Last up is probably one of the, I think, the other really big deck in the format, and I would say, although Purple Steel is the deck, really, but there's like 3 or 4 different ways to build Purple Steel now, and it's kind of interesting. The one that people have been gravitating to, I think, the most, even though there is kind of a Maleficent Diablo Villains one, which is, I believe, the one that B Squared won that CCQ with about a week ago. There is this Droids one, which people really love, and a few people at my locals have been playing it, and they smashed me last week, but again, I was not teched for it. I'm coming for them. I'm coming for them next week. Anyway, you run a bunch of the Omni Droids, and you basically just shift on top of them, and they get progressively, like, they do damage. They have resist. You have the final one that came out this set, the Omni Droid Ultimate Iteration, where when you shift it, you put all the cards under it back into your hand, so then you can just do the cycle all over again. You got Demona and Hades, obviously, because it is an Amethyst deck, and you kind of need them. You've got some Cheshire Cat. You've got Morph, just for more shift targets. And then you've got Syndrome, which honestly is kind of busted in this format, which is whenever this character quests, return a robot character card from your discard to your hand. Then you may play or shift a robot character with cost 8 or less for free. So you can literally do the ultimate iteration, the 8-drop, and play it for free. And your opponent has to take out Syndrome first to really get rid of it. It is insidious. If they manage to keep Syndrome on the board and quest, God, it's so annoying. It's really, really strong. I think this deck is really, really strong. That being said, if you do want to play Purple Steel, just remember this is not your only option. Oh, I forgot to mention, this droids list is by JDRR, and this is his public Dreamborn list, and he has a free guide up as well for this deck specifically. There are other versions, so you don't feel like you have to play this one, because there are other versions. Like there's dwarves, there's droids, there's the Villains Maleficent one, and I believe there's another one, and they're all pretty good. It kind of remains to be seen which is the best one. I think most people are wanting to do droids because that, like, questing with Syndrome and playing something for free is just such a big, awesome, flashy play that people want to do it. And I don't blame them, because Syndrome is in that, like, perfect stat range where he's too low for you know, getting hit with World's Greatest Criminal Mind, and he's too big for getting just shot with a Thunderbolt, you know? And you have to put in some work if you want to use, like, Strength of Raging Fire or something on him. It's not to say that he's unanswerable, but he is difficult to answer. And he does have a shift target in Incrediboy in this deck. So, droids, pretty dang good. Anyway, that's going to do it for the lists that I have compiled. Let me know in the comments if there's another deck that you are thinking about playing this set and think looks pretty good. Just an update, I will be at D23, so if you see me, say hello. And then I will also be at the LCQ in Anaheim in August. So if you manage to, if you see me there or run into me, play with me, say hello. Love to say hi. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Remember to like, favorite, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll see you guys later. Bye. Love you.